Hello, welcome. My name is Bill Murphy. The League of Women Voters of Fresno would like you to know what's at stake when you go to the polls on Tuesday, June 3rd for the primary election. So they've asked me to moderate a forum today in which we hope to learn from the candidates their views and positions on important issues connected with the office. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization. It does not endorse candidates or political parties. We're thankful to the Community Media Access Collaborative for their help in producing this forum. Our slate of candidates includes two people running for Fresno County District Attorney, Elizabath Egan, incumbent, and Lisa Smittcamp, the challenger. Each candidate will make a 1-minute opening statement, followed by questions from me. And then each candidate will have 1 minute to answer, and a 30-second rebuttal will be allowed after that if desired. And finally, each candidate will make a 1-minute closing statement. So, Elizabath Egan, you will be the first to offer your opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for holding this debate. It's really great to be able to talk to people about the District Attorney's Office and why I'm so proud to have been serving as District Attorney since I was first elected in 2002. Over the years, this last decade, although it's been a major financial roller coaster, we have been steady on in doing great work in the Fresno County District Attorney's Office. Not only have we increased staffing in our core critical prosecution units like homicide, sexual assault, the gang unit, we've also been innovative in establishing a life or parole unit, an elder abuse unit. We've increased our outreach to law enforcement offices through an e-filing system where they can send police reports in over the internet and not have to drive them to town. There's a lot been going on, all the while maintaining a conviction rate higher than the state average, 92% in 2013 and 90% over the last 5 years. So I'm very proud of the work and of the fantastic people in the DA's office doing the work for the public every day.
Thank you. Lisa Smittcamp, your opening statement.
Thank you. My name is Lisa Sondergaard Smittcamp, and I have been a prosecutor for 16 years. I've proudly served the people of Fresno County for 12 years as a Deputy District Attorney. I'm a local girl born and raised in Fresno County, and I am proud to say that I have lived here and I am raising my family here. I am endorsed by the vast majority of law enforcement here in Fresno. I have the proud endorsements from Chief Jerry Dyer, from Mayor Ashley Swearingen. I also am endorsed by the associations from the Fresno, Clovis, Reedley, Sanger, Mendota, and Coalinga Police Officers Association, in addition to the Fresno Sheriff's Sergeants Association, the Fresno Firefighters Union, and also I am endorsed by former District Attorney Dale Blickenstaff. I am also proudly endorsed, and probably most notably endorsed by Mrs. Egan's own employees. Both the investigators and the attorneys in her office are endorsing me, and they are supporting my campaign because they know it is time for change. And I am honored and privileged to be here today and thank the League of Women Voters for having us.
Thank you. Now we'll begin the questioning, and we'll start with Lisa Smittcamp. What would be your top 3 priorities if elected, and how would you implement them?
Well, that is a great question, and the first thing that I would do if I was elected DA is to reestablish morale inside of the DA's office. Right now, morale is disastrous. The DA's office is a managerial disaster right now. We have a lot of people moving around. There's such talented people that are choosing to be deputy district attorneys, and they're doing fantastic work, but with the current state of the administration, we have very low morale. So the first priority would have to be to reallocate our resources and put deputy district attorneys and investigators in places where they can shine, and also improve training and restore and return the discretion to the prosecutors so that they can, in fact, do their job. The second thing that I would do is improve communication with law enforcement. All the list of law enforcement agencies that I have listed in my opening are all very frustrated with the DA's office and the lack of communication that we have inside. between the two agencies. And the third thing is to be an active DA in the community, to do what I do in my personal life, and that is to get out and to work with schools and with youth groups to educate and increase the awareness of who the DA is and what we do, and really work with gangs and youth to improve our truancy problems, to improve and work with people within drugs and mental health programs, and really get out there and be part of the community.
Thank you. Elizabeth Egan, what would be your top 3 priorities and how would you implement them?
Well, the top 3 priorities are the staffing level in the DA's office is below what it needs to be to protect this community as well as we should be. There has been a hesitancy on the board's behalf, Board of Supervisors that is, to pay our prosecutors and investigators a competitive salary, and that's starting to have an impact on the office. The fact is, our people are so dedicated to this job that they're working under conditions that really they shouldn't have to be right now. But I know it's tough everywhere, but we want to stay at it, and we want to increase the staffing because you know what? Our homicide units, our gang units are all handling caseloads that are just a little bit too high for the seriousness of those cases. So I would increase our staffing, do everything I could to prevail on the board to increase the pay for our attorneys because they're earning it, and our investigators and our clerical staff, as a matter of fact, but I mean, everybody knows the economy here. And the fact is that we have established an identity theft unit that needs a whole victims adjunct part of that unit to help people that have actually been victimized. Their elder abuse unit is too thin. We're doing great work, but we need more people. We're still 44 employees down than when we were in 2008, and that'd be my first priority, staff in that office.
Thank you. Any rebuttal?
Yes, we've had 123 lawyers leave this office during Mrs. Egan's tenure, and it wasn't lawyers who left because of budget problems or salary decreases. People that work in the DA's office are dedicated to the work. People are leaving the DA's office because of the morale problems. People are leaving the DA's office because we cannot do our work. We do not have discretion. We have policies that are paralyzing us in court and contributing to the overcrowding at the jail. And the fact remains that we cannot continue to blame the budget. We cannot continue to have this rhetoric. We have one statement that we've increased staffing, and then we have another statement that says staffing levels have increased. So it's time for a manager who can be a leader.
Ms. Egan, do you have any rebuttal?
Well, yeah, but I mean, my opponent keeps citing stats on attrition rate. They're not accurate. The fact is the attrition rate has been steady over the last 14 years. It did increase when our attorneys took severe pay cuts because they are very valuable and skilled, and they were picked up by other prosecuting agencies. Those are just a misstatement of the attrition rate in the DA's office. So we need, the more that we're able to increase the staff, the more people will be able to have a couple nights or weekends home with their family while they're doing this great job for the citizens.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Egan, there has been a lot of talk in the campaign about management styles. Describe your experiences in managing personnel, budgets, and caseloads.
Well, I have vast experience in managing all of those things, and that's what the district attorney duties are. I mean, they're manifold and manifest the duties of a district attorney. But as far as management style, I have instituted some structure in the office that was needed because we were growing in Fresno County, and this office is the largest law office between Sacramento and LA. So we have hiring, a formalized hiring process where it's very objective. We have panels to interview our new prospective attorneys that make recommendations for further interviews. I was thinking of Clovis Unified, and when I talked to some of the people there on how they hired such great teachers, and they had a rigorous interview panel, but by very many people. We have line deputies and chiefs and supervisors, and including myself, part of that. We promote by merit. We have a very objective promotion process in the office because I didn't want people to feel like they had to know someone or had to be in an inside group. We do it by merit, and it's been very successful in that also. We're just growing this office. Personnel, we have civil service, we have police officers, we have attorneys. Our office is very unique in the county, and it takes a lot of managerial prowess to have a smooth process in the office, and I've brought that to the office.
Thank you. Ms. Smittcamp, describe your experiences in managing personnel, budgets, and caseloads.
Well, sir, I was actually I was actually made the supervisor of the domestic violence unit by Mrs. Egan. She appointed me to that position twice. She personally called me and asked me to take those positions both times that she gave them to me, because she knows that I'm just a born leader. That's what I'm good at. I also have led by example, and I have been in the dirt. I have the experience to not only manage lawyers, but what people don't realize is that when people come out of law school, they are not lawyers. They are lawyers, they are not prosecutors. And in order to be a prosecutor, it is a learned skill. And I have done the work. I have served on the sexual assault team, the domestic violence team, the homicide team. My trial experience is vast. I connect with victims. And most importantly, I motivate the people that work with me, because the DA's office is comprised of some of the most hard-working men and women that we have in our county. And I have worked with my family businesses, both from my family and my husband's family, and have vast experience within running budgets and understanding the finances. And I also have the ability, because I've done the job, to motivate other people and motivate young lawyers to become fine prosecutors.
Thank you. Any rebuttal?
Well, I think the fact that the conviction rate is above the state average under the pressure we're under speaks a lot for management and my management style.
And Ms. Smittcamp?
Well, the conviction rate of 92% that Mrs. Egan touts all over TV and radio is only verified by her internal stats. There is no verification from the court, and there is no verification from Sacramento, from the Judicial Council, for these statistics. We have asked Mrs. Egan for that information. It has not been provided. And quite honestly, the Judicial Council of California, which is based in Sacramento, that receives the information regarding trial stats and regarding conviction rates from the Fresno County courts, tells a much different story. The last available stats from the Judicial Council show that Fresno County actually is lagging behind and is 23rd in the state with a 52.53% conviction rate. So I take issue with Mrs. Egan's 92% conviction rate and would challenge her today to provide that information to the public so that we can see exactly where she gets her 92%.
Ms. Smittcamp, what specific changes can be put into place to achieve greater efficiencies and improve morale in the DA's office?
Oh, that's a great question. The first thing is that the DA's office and the citizens of Fresno County deserve to have a district attorney who is present. The citizens deserve, and that the office staff deserves, to have somebody who will be there and who has been there, somebody that can lead by example. This county needs a prosecutor to be the district attorney, not a politician, not somebody who's going to be off in Sacramento, off in Riverside, off in San Diego, doing meetings and attending functions or going places that serve no benefit to the citizens of this county. We need a leader, we need a motivator, we need somebody who's going to be innovative. We also need somebody who's a prosecutor so that this person, who is me, can motivate people and understand what it takes to be a sexual assault prosecutor, understand what it takes, the special skills that you need to have to be a gang prosecutor or homicide prosecutor. When you've never done the work yourself, it is very difficult to understand the needs that each of those assignments have. So that's what I bring to the table, is experience, no ego, just get in the dirt, roll your sleeves up, put your gloves on, and get to work. And that's what the people of this county deserve.
Thank you. And Ms. Egan, what changes would you bring about to achieve greater efficiencies and improve morale in the DA's office?
Well, we're in the process of improving efficiencies in the office. We have a new $1 million case management system that it's been 20 years and it's time, or it's not supported by the information technology services in the county. And so we're moving towards that's going to be hugely beneficial to the efficiency in the office. And as far as morale, pay our people what they're worth, increase the staffing so they're not under such intense pressure all the time, and I think morale will improve in the office. But my opponent just has a lack of understanding of the district attorney's job. Going to Sacramento to fight for legislation to protect victims or to keep offenders accountable is not some ancillary job to the district attorney of Fresno County. It's the top administrative job, the top law enforcement official in the county, and you can't do that behind a desk in an office. It's just not possible. It's like saying that the sheriff shouldn't meet in Sacramento for the same purposes as the district attorneys do. So, of course, I work every day with our prosecutors in the office. I understand what they're doing and how they're doing it and support them, and I'm involved in case management also. So it's just it's just a lack of understanding of the responsibilities of the district attorney.
All right, any rebuttal?
Sure, yes. I was a member of the office under Mrs. Egan for 12 years, and I can honestly say that that is just simply not true. Mrs. Egan has been an absent boss, especially over the past 5 years, not being involved at all in the day-to-day workings of getting in and knowing who her lawyers are and knowing what they're doing. You cannot be a present active boss if you're not in the office. And I have a full understanding of the responsibility of the district attorney and what the role is, and that is to bring justice to the citizens of Fresno County, not to be out playing politics and furthering my own political career.
Ms. Egan?
Well, you know, personal attacks just have no place here. Politics, throwing around who's a politician here, I think it's pretty clear that the challenger's taken a fast track into the world of politics, and, you know, that's okay.
All right, Ms. Egan, are there cases referred to the DA's office that don't belong in the courts, given heavy caseloads and crowded court dockets, as well as jail overcrowding? What cases, if any, can be handled without going through the court system?
Well, you know, the district attorney is a repository of the work that law enforcement officers do in the county. They make an arrest, they write a report, they decide whether to refer it to us for review for charges. And so we take in the cases from every operating law enforcement agency in the county, which is somewhere around 70 actually. And then we review those cases. I established a filing team. The experience level on the filing team is about 80 years of prosecutorial experience. And they review, those are the basic general felony cases. We have a separate misdemeanor team, we have vertical teams, but the lion's share of the cases come into our felony filing team, and then we review those cases, and we follow the law in reviewing those cases. Was a crime committed? Was this person accused and arrested, the person who committed the crime? Do we have enough evidence to prove that case beyond a reasonable doubt? And really, that's the charge of the district attorney. Now, we are involved in other in mental health courts and in victor offender reconciliation programs, and I instituted this year a misdemeanor diversion program for certain cases. Once we review them for filing, they're diverted for a program and pay your fines, pay your restitution, and the case is dismissed. There's a lot of creative things to do, but really the charge of the district attorney is to prosecute all crimes committed within the county of Fresno. That's our constitutional obligation.
Thank you. Ms. Smittcamp, what cases do you see should be handled without going through the court system?
Well, in my opinion, the cases that don't belong in the courts are the cases which have insufficient evidence. And the cases that come in from law enforcement have to be evaluated. And when I speak to the law enforcement agencies, many of them who are endorsing me and who have expressed such a dissatisfaction with the current service they're receiving from the district attorney's office, is that it's important for the law enforcement officers to understand that there's a different level of, a different burden of proof inside the court. So as a district attorney, you have to be able to properly train your filing department so that people know the difference between a case that can be proven beyond a reasonable doubt and those that can't. So when cases have sufficient evidence, they need to be filed. The alternative to that, especially with regard to juvenile crimes and some very low-level adult crimes, is we have to start to open up our mind and not just give lip service to a program called restorative justice. It is working in communities all over this county. Reedley has a fantastic program with restorative justice where they get the victims and the offenders together, and if it's a simple crime such as vandalism or a simple crime such as graffiti or trespassing or something like that, they get the victims and the offenders together, and it is a way to prevent our children from becoming part of the criminal justice system. And it's a conversation that needs to happen for real, not just lip service for political campaigns.
Thank you. Any rebuttal?
I agree. The Readly program is a good program, and that's fantastic. They know their local community, and they won't refer those cases to us. They'll handle them very close at the local level, and I really applaud that. I wish all the county and all the municipalities had the staffing to do that. It's a positive thing.
Okay. Ms. Smittcamp, the Public Safety Realignment Law, passed in 2011, has resulted in thousands of low-risk criminals becoming the responsibility of the county, creating overcrowding of local jails and a revolving door policy for incarceration. How can the DA's office respond to mitigate the negative effects of this law in the community?
That's another great question. AB 109 is a reality for everybody. Prosecutors and law enforcement people, nobody really likes it. But what's not happening in Fresno is that we're not accepting it. And the DA's office is not being proactive in working to ensure that we get the right people in the right beds at the Fresno County Jail. And that really is the bottom line. We have to have the right people put into the right beds. And so in order to deal with AB 109, we have to look at who's coming into the jail. And we cannot not file cases because we simply don't have room. So I think the key to ensuring that we don't have overcrowding, in addition to all the other problems that we have to deal with, is that we have to make sure our filing is done correctly and efficiently. And we also have to return the discretion to the prosecutors and take their handcuffs off. They have been handcuffed by Mrs. Egan's policies. They have been handcuffed by strict restrictions of her one-dimensional take on crime, and we have to be able to move these people through the system so that they can get to where they have to go, be it a local jail sentence, be it a prison sentence, or be it a program for mental health or addictive disorder.
Thank you. Ms. Egan, what can or what is the DA's office doing to mitigate the effects of the realignment law?
Well, the fact is, first of all, when the realignment law came into effect, it was published that there were nonviolent offenders, and all. That's absolutely not true. The fact is that the DA's office has been a stakeholder in realignment since day one. The DA, myself, sits on the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council and the Community Corrections Partnership, which is tasked with instituting realignment in this county. So I have firsthand experience and a depth of understanding on realignment. I think that realignment, as DAs, we've been trying to change the laws and to address the reality of who these offenders are, and we're not having as much success in Sacramento as we would like, but that doesn't mean we will stop. The jail in Fresno County is not big enough for the population, and that's a fact of life. And when you look at the jail population day to day, hour to hour, you'll see that there are many more serious offenders that should be in that jail than there's room for. The DA is going to review every case, file every case appropriately. Criticizing our incredibly professional filing team is a mistake because they're looking at every single case and every offender. And that's the way we're going to continue to do it in the DA's office.
Thank you. Any rebuttal?
Well, I only have a short period of time, so what I would focus on is the fact that this has nothing to do with slamming on the filing team. This is a criticism of the administration of the way the policies that are in place right now in the DA's office, because the 9 law enforcement agencies that are endorsing me and supporting me have all indicated that their number one problem with the DA's office is the filing. And so with the resistance of the current administration to acknowledge or communicate with those law enforcement officers is the reason that they are endorsing me. And so if we keep having this same go around of conversation that goes nowhere because nobody in the DA's office is willing to admit that this problem exists, we're not going to go anywhere, which is the perfect reason to illustrate why we need a change.
Thank you. Ms. Egan, many defendants have mental health problems. What response should the DA's office provide for a defendant who asks for mental health evaluation prior to arraignment or preliminary hearing?
You know, criminal defendants all are afforded counsel, and they will raise issues like that. There's legal processes that we're very familiar with in the court. We handle that every day. We have a behavioral health court that I sent people. We started that in the last few years under my administration. And there's one at the juvenile court also. So the defendants, of course, are afforded all the opportunities through their attorney and the judge to pursue all their remedies and options as far as their state of mind and their ability to stand trial. We are evolving in Fresno County, and we're trying to catch up to some of the wealthier counties in the Bay that, our behavioral health court could be 5 times as large, but it isn't because we choose to grow and still be effective. So it's a resource, it takes massive resources for the mental health court, but the work coming out of it is good. So as this county is able to, we will be expanding those kind of courts, specialty courts. But in the meantime, our job is to be fair and objective in our prosecution, and that's what we'll do.
Thank you. Ms. Smittcamp?
Thank you. As any seasoned prosecutor who has been in court knows, the actual deputy district attorney who is handling a case receives a report, and they do not have any one-on-one interaction with the defendant himself. So the deputy district attorney in court has to rely on the defense attorney and the courts to inform them if there is a mental health condition of the defendant. So the responsibility of the deputy district attorney, once the determination has been made by the defense attorney, who is the person who has contact with their client and the court, to show that there's a question regarding somebody's mental health capacity or their ability to understand the proceedings or anything else that may have to do with their mental health. The responsibility of the district attorney at that point becomes to cooperate into that investigation and not to try to inhibit it, which is happening now. And we do have some involvement, and I find it sort of funny that Mrs. Egan says she initiated these programs. These behavioral health courts, both at the juvenile and adult levels, have been actually been very difficult to get going because of Mrs. Egan's resistance to participate. And part of the reason that I'm running for district attorney is I was asked to do that by judges who have been frustrated by the current administration because of their lack of involvement in these types of courts.
Thank you. Any rebuttal?
We're committed to all kinds of innovative courts. As district attorney, I'm absolutely committed to it. But as district attorney, you have to staff the courts. And when we have 44 fewer people in the office, it's just a matter of priorities. Public safety is number one. Innovative courts are absolutely on the radar, but we'll send people there as we have them because we have a responsibility we have to take care of first.
Thank you. Ms. Smittcamp, did you have anything further?
Well, all I can say to that, Bill, is I just get confused by this line because that we hear we're increasing staffing in certain departments. We don't have enough staff. We're doing really great. We have all these budget problems, but the bottom line is the communication is not there. And anyone who is involved in the mental health community in our county knows the truth. And if you are a person who has concerns about people who have mental health issues in this community, go out and ask. That's all I can say is go out and ask people that are involved in the mental health community. Go out and ask people, the staff or the judges who are involved in this, and see what they say about the district attorney's willingness to participate, because they will tell you the truth.
Thank you. And now Elizabath Egan will give us a closing statement.
Well, thank you very much for hosting this debate. I'm pleased to be here, and I'm honored to be serving as district attorney. I have been leading an office that is absolutely successful in crime is down, and our prosecutions are very successful. That takes intense legal skills. It takes intense commitment by the attorneys and the investigators and the unsung hero support staff in the DA's office. My abilities as district attorney are testified to by my strong endorsement of Sheriff Margaret Mims, Sheriff Steve McGarrian, Sheriff Richard Pierce, top law enforcement officials in the county of Fresno who understand what it takes and understand that I've been doing a great job in the district attorney's office and wish to see that continue. The California correctional peace officers, the Fresno deputy sheriffs, the deputy correctional sergeants are all supporting me. They know the work I do. They know the commitment I have to the public safety in this community. And as far as victims' rights groups, I'm the unanimous choice of the crime victims' rights groups in the state of California. And I'm really looking forward to 4 more years as district attorney.
Thank you. Lisa Smittcamp?
Thank you.
I'm excited to be on this campaign trail so that I can continue to do the work that I've done for 16 years, and that is to advocate for victims, to advocate for our citizens, and to pursue justice in this community. I am proudly endorsed by the overwhelming majority of local law enforcement. I don't go to Sacramento like Mrs. Egan does to get 30,000 people who've never met me or don't know anything about my work through a special interest group or a union or a PAC to endorse me. I don't need that. I have the endorsement from 9 local law enforcement associations, Chief Jerry Dyer, the mayor, the former district attorney, and most importantly, and I can't say it enough times, Mrs. Egan's own employees in both the Prosecutors Association, who are the deputy district attorneys that fight for us every day, and the investigative staff, which is the law enforcement branch of the district attorney's office. All of her employees are endorsing me. If that doesn't tell this county something about the fact that the district attorney's office is broken and it needs new leadership, I don't know what does.
Thank you. You have been watching a forum organized by the League of Women Voters of Fresno with the production assistance by the Community Media Access Collaborative of Fresno. I'm Bill Murphy. Thanks for watching.